Mr. Chairman and gentlemen, it affords me sincere pleasure to meet this distinguished club, a club which has extended its hospitalities and its cordial welcome to so many of my countrymen. I hope you will excuse these clothes. I am going to the theater. That will explain these clothes. I have other clothes than these. Judging human nature by what I have seen of it, I suppose that the customary thing for a stranger to do when he stands here is to make a pun on the name of this club, under the impression, of course, that he is the first man that idea has occurred to. It is a credit to our human nature, not a blemish upon it, for it shows that underlying all our depravity, and God knows and you know we are depraved enough, and all our sophistication and untarnished by them, there is a sweet germ of innocence and simplicity still. When a stranger says to me, with a glow of inspiration in his eyes, some gentle, innocuous little thing about Twain and one flesh and all that sort of thing, I don't try to crush that man into the earth. No. I feel like saying, let me take you by the hand, sir. Let me embrace you. I have not heard that pun for weeks. We will deal in palpable puns. We will call parties named King, Your Majesty, and we will say to the Smiths that we think we have heard that name before somewhere. Such is human nature. We cannot alter this. It is God that made us so for some good and wise purpose. Let us not repine, but though I may seem strange, may seem eccentric, I mean to refrain from punning upon the name of this club, though I could make a very good one if I had time to think about it. A week. I cannot express to you what entire enjoyment I find in this first visit to this prodigious metropolis of yours. Its wonders seem to me to be limitless. I go about as in a dream, as in a realm of enchantment, where many things are rare and beautiful, and all things are strange and marvelous. Hour after hour I stand spellbound, as it were, and gaze upon the statuary in Leicester Square. I visit the mortuary effigies of noble old Henry VIII and Judge Jeffreys and the preserved gorilla, and try to make up my mind which of my ancestors I admire the most. I go to that matchless Hyde Park and drive all around it, and then I start to enter it at the Marble Arch and am induced to change my mind. It is a great benefaction, is Hyde Park. There in his hansom cab the invalid can go, the poor sad child of misfortune, and insert his nose between the railings and breathe the pure health-giving air of the country and of heaven. And if he is a swell invalid who isn't obliged to depend upon parks for his country air, he can drive inside, if he owns his vehicle. I drive round and round Hyde Park, and the more I see of the edges of it, the more grateful I am that the margin is extensive. And I have been to the Zoological Gardens. What a wonderful place that is! I have never seen such a curious and interesting variety of wild animals in any garden before, except Mobile. I never believed before that there were so many different kinds of animals in the world as you can find there, and I don't believe it yet. I have been to the British Museum. I would advise you to drop in there sometime when you have nothing to do, for 5 minutes, if you have never been there. It seems to me the noblest monument that this nation has yet erected to her greatness. I say to her, our greatness as a nation. True, she has built other monuments, and stately ones as well, but these she has uplifted in honor of 2 or 3 colossal demigods who have stalked across the world's stage, destroying tyrants and delivering nations, and whose prodigies will still live in memories of men ages after their monuments shall have crumbled to dust. I refer to the Wellington and Nelson columns and the Albert Memorial. The library at the British Museum I find particularly astounding. I have read there hours together and hardly made an impression on it. I revere that library. It is the author's friend. I don't care how mean a book is, it always takes one copy. And then, every day that author goes there to gaze at that book and is encouraged to go on in the good work. And what a touching sight it is of a Saturday afternoon to see the poor, careworn clergymen gathered together in that vast reading room, cabbaging sermons for Sunday. You will pardon my referring to these things. Everything in this monster city interests me, and I cannot keep from talking, even at the risk of being instructive. People here seem always to express distances by parables. To a stranger, it is just a little confusing to be so parabolic, so to speak. I call her a citizen, and I think I am going to get some valuable information out of him. I ask him how far it is to Birmingham, and he says it is 21 shillings and 6pence. Now, we know that don't help a man any who is trying to learn. I find myself downtown somewhere, and I want to get some sort of idea of where I am, being usually lost when alone, and I stop the citizen and say, how far is it to Charing Cross? Shilling fare in a cab, and off he goes. I suppose if I were to ask a Londoner how far it is from the sublime to the ridiculous, he would try to express it in coin. But I am trespassing upon your time with these geological statistics and historical reflections. I will not longer keep you from your orgies. 'Tis a real pleasure for me to be here, and I thank you for it. The name of the Savage Club is associated in my mind with the kindly interest and the friendly offices which you lavished upon an old friend of mine who came among you a stranger, and you opened your English hearts to him and gave him welcome and a home. Artemus Ward. Asking that you will join me, I give you his memory.